Yeah, we played chess up in junior high every day. I wrote it down.
Oops. Okay, we're ready. Go ahead.
Wonderful. Thank you, everybody, for being here with us. We are reconvening our joint board meeting and advisory committee meeting. Do you need to take the roll for the advisory committee?
I need actually both.
Both of them, go right ahead.
Yep. So starting with the board of directors, Director Nelson. Here. Director Taylor.
Here.
Director Vesey.
Here.
Director Thompson.
Here.
Director Dovenspike. Here. Director Johnson.
Here.
Director Clausen.
Here.
With the advisory committee, Lauren Morris.
Here.
Cynthia Ramirez.
Here.
Michelle McIntyre. Michael Babcock.
Here.
Richard Rogers.
Here.
Karen Dubasar.
Here.
Whoop. Hold on, we have another person in the waiting room. We also have Jane Stebbins, counsel, myself, Melissa Metz, general manager, and we have quite a few guests with us today. So with that, we will proceed with the agenda.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, board. Our first item on our agenda back is any motions resulting from executive session. I turn to the board for a motion.
I make a motion to accept the evaluation committee's recommendation to issue a notice of intent to award the contract to S&B James Construction in accordance with ORS 279B.405. If no protests are received within a specific time frame of 7 days, the intent to award contract will serve as authorization to begin contract negotiations and finalize the contract.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Board, is there any discussion on the item? Hearing nothing, I'll call the question. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Abstentions, the motion carries. Board, do we have another motion?
Make a motion to move to authorize the general manager and council to enter into contract negotiations with Crow, Clay and Associates, Inc. for architectural and engineering services for the Coos Transit Center, and upon successful negotiation of terms and final pricing to execute the final contract agreement.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Board, is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed say no. Abstentions, the motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. That moves us to agenda item 5, which is changes to our agenda. Do we have any changes to our agenda today? Hearing none, that moves us to item 6, citizen comments on agenda items limited to 3 minutes per person. Public comment in a meeting is a one-way communication where the public shares input on the record without expecting a dialogue or direct response. Unless we have anybody for a public comment today. If you want to make one, you can just raise your hand if you're on Zoom. Going once, twice. Hearing none, I will close the comment section on agenda items. Board, that brings us to our next item, which is our consent agenda, which has our board of directors meeting minutes from March 9th, April 2nd, approval of the budget committee meeting minutes from March 9th, 2026, financial report, balance sheet as of February 2026, and a ridership report also as from February 2026. Do I have a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Sorry. We have a motion and a second to accept the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor of approving the consent agenda as adopted, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Abstentions, consent agenda is adopted. Thank you. Melissa, item 8, special presentation. Thank you.
So I have some special presentations to make today. Yes.
Sure.
Okay, thank you. All right. Hi, Chris.
Hey.
It is wonderful to have you today. So Chris is the employee of the quarter. And Chris, I'm going to have you hold your certificate while I read this to everyone. So Chris Farrell joined CCAT on December 8th of 2022 as a driver operator and has since become a highly dependable and versatile member of the team. Holding a commercial driver's license, Chris demonstrates strong technical skills and professionalism in all aspects of his role. Chris has developed experience across all of CCAT services and is capable of driving any route with confidence and efficiency. His adaptability and thorough knowledge of operations makes him a valuable asset in maintaining consistent and reliable service for the community. Known for his strong work ethic and team-first attitude, Chris is always willing to step in and provide coverage whenever needed. His flexibility and commitment ensures that service demands are met even in challenging or unexpected situations. In recognition of his contributions and positive impact, Chris was voted Employee of the Quarter by his peers, an honor that reflects the respect and trust he has earned from his colleagues. Chris's dedication, reliability, and broad skills that makes him an asset, essential part of CCAT's success, and a trusted member of the team. Okay, Ryan, you're up.
Oh, boy.
Ryan began his career with CCAT in May of 2023, starting as a driver. Through his strong work ethic, leadership abilities, and commitment to serve, he quickly advanced within the organization, first transitioning into a dispatcher role, and most of 2025 served as lead dispatcher. Throughout 2025, Ryan was the glue in making daily operations happen. Ryan successfully juggles the customer on the phone, the logistics of getting a bus down for maintenance, and answers questions posed by drivers every day. Ryan ensures reliable and consistent services while maintaining high standards of customer service. He is also our lead expert for EcoLane software, which dispatchers rely on to schedule and manage dial-a-ride services. His experience ensures smooth coordination, accurate scheduling, and effective problem solving within the system. In recognition of his outstanding contributions and leadership in 2025, Ryan is hereby recognized by the management team and board of directors as Employee of the Year, an honor that reflects the respect and appreciation he has earned. Ryan's rapid progression within CCAT to now paratransit supervisor in 2026 reflects his professionalism, adaptability, and commitment to excellence in public transportation services. Thank you. And you can keep this. There we go.
I think it's neat we recognize our workers, because without our workers, we can't do anything. And they work hard for a number of years. I've contacted these guys in the past, and our whole organization is important. Every person is important, and they make a difference every day. And we really appreciate you guys. You're being selected as a quarter and year, but we have other outstanding people too. And I'm glad that we've taken the time to recognize you guys. And other people can work hard too, and maybe they'll be recognized down the road as well. Good job.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much. And thank you for being here. Are we ready, Melissa? All right. Thank you, everybody. Our next agenda item is agenda item 9, which is our special speaker, who I have the privilege of introducing, Julie Brown. Julie is a prominent Oregon public transit leader serving as the general manager of the Rogue Valley Transportation District in Medford since 2007, where she has over 22 years of experience. She is the president of the Community Transportation Association of America Board of Directors and also a member of the Oregon Transportation Commission. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you so much. I hope you can hear me. Great.
Yes.
I was having computer problems this morning. So I'm so privileged to be able to come and speak with you today, and I'm glad that you are asking the questions now about what transit funding is going to look like in our future, because we're kind of at crossroads right now where transit agencies are actually cutting service across the state and across the nation because funding has become a problem for all of us. As you may or may not be aware, in 2025, we tried to increase the STIF funding for transit across the state, and it was a failure at the legislative level. They tried again in a special session, and then in the short session, they once again started talking about it. And what they came to conclusion was putting together a task force, but unfortunately that bill fell too. But I have good news for you because the governor has put together a task force that is going to start meeting at the end of the month to look at funding for transportation, and not just transit, but funding in general across the state. And hopefully we'll be able to come up with some reliable funding for everyone. But the reality, I think, is that transit agencies are going to have to start looking at funding from their local levels and support there, in addition to anything that comes from the state and federal government. Federal government is staying pretty flat. It did increase about 2%, but that is kind of a normal increase that we see in the transportation bills. But the STIF is really in danger right now, and we're not sure what's going to happen with that. There has been conversations about totally taking it away from transit and finding a different alternative funding source to letting us have the 0.1% and stay there. So I think what would be best, maybe, Melissa, is if I just pause here and let you maybe ask me some questions. I might be able to give you a better feel for what's going on.
So are there questions that the board has that you would like to ask Julie specifically?
What kind of alternative funding sources, I guess you're saying locally, might we ask or yeah. get
I'm
in
glad
touch
you
with?
asked that question because that's one that's really close to my heart. I think that it's one that's very difficult, but I'll give you an example. In 1975, RVTD became a special district. And at that time, we actually came up with a property tax millage that was 17 cents per thousand. So for every $1,000 of value in a home, we receive 17 cents in property tax. At the time, it seemed like that was going to be adequate for our district, but as time grows and money stays pretty flat, it really isn't a lot. Some of the options that you have is to become a special district with a property tax. I know you're already a special district, but to become a property tax added to it, to your add the millage to it. It's a hard sell to your community, but if you can get your community to understand the value of transit, a lot of times they will agree to it. I know in other areas like Klamath Falls, it's 56 cents per thousand. In I think it's 28 cents per thousand in the Salem area. It's a really difficult one, but it is one to get your local property tax people to believe in having that three-legged stool. So at that point, what happens is you're matching your state and your federal dollars, and it makes it really a reliable source of income. For us, we just recently laid off 63 employees. We cut from 16 routes down to 6. And what we have found is we can pretty much cover our community. It's not great service. It doesn't run in the evenings. It doesn't run on the weekends, but at least it gives most people something. And then you have your ADA paratransit service on the side of that. That helps people with disabilities. So now our community is facing on the May ballot if they want to do a serial levy of an additional 5 years, and they've increased it 13 cents every 5 years for the last 8 years or 10 years. I guess it's 10 years now. And so they'll be answering that question again. We'll see if our community continues it. It's hard right now because nobody wants to pay more taxes, and it's a hard conversation. Other ways that you can do it is you can have a different taxes put on as a special district, but you have to get that put into your statute. So you'll have to look at what the options are, but those are some of the things that you can do. The other thing you can do is talk to your community and see if your Chamber of Commerce will get behind it. You could have an employer tax, which is that would be equivalent to your employee tax. So you could ask for a 0.1% employer tax. That's probably not what employers want to hear at this time. But if you're getting their employees to work, it makes sense to them. So there's just different things, but it's difficult because it's a hard conversation. I think the first conversation you have to have with your community is, do you support transit, and what is the value of it in your community? And I think once you get that answered by your community, it's easier to have these hard conversations.
Julie, when we formed this special district, we promised not to be a taxing district.
Sure.
When we say we promise not to be a taxing district, we can't go back on our promise not to be a taxing district and be a taxing district. So we would be in trouble even thinking about doing it. I understand we need the money. I understand that. But we promised, since I've been around since rocks are soft, we said we would never do that.
Sure.
How do you handle that?
So how you handle that is times have changed. And what you can say is, let's have a conversation about it and bring people in and start talking about it. Say, okay, we aren't a taxing district, so what can we do as a community to make this work? Is it a sales tax? Is it some kind of luxury tax that everybody pays? Is it something that we can do through tourism? You know, it's questions like that. Now, the problem I think that the state of Oregon really has, and you know, I'd probably be run out on a rail. I'm conservative Republican, but the way that we look at taxation in our state, since we've let logging go and our source of revenue go, we don't have many ways to pay for services. And yet everyone expects a level of service. They expect the fire department to show up. They expect the police department to show up. They expect certain levels of the community to be there for them. And transit is one of those levels of people rely on these. And as we get older, I think one of the things that people are starting to understand a little bit, even the younger generation, as I age out, my children are starting to realize, once I can no longer drive, how am I going to get to the grocery store? How am I going to get to my doctor's appointments? What are they going to give up as a family to be able to take me to do the things that I need to do because I no longer can drive a vehicle if I have no transit in my community? So you have to have these really hard conversations, but it's, again, getting people back in and talking to them and saying, if we promised we wouldn't be a taxing district, but what do you suggest to us that we can do? Some of the other things you can talk about is working with the tribe and trying to be, you know, they're always looking for community projects. Having a robust transit service in their community is probably going to help them, especially if you serve the casino. I think that you have to put it back on your community. If they don't care, they don't care, but I think that they do. And it's just taking the time and the effort to have those hard conversations and really be open and make it so that people can come and speak to you. A lot of times, we throw up, we're having an open house, come talk to us, and nobody shows up. That's pretty typical. Where you have to go meet them is in their place. So you start those conversations at community meetings, at Rotaries, at other, advocacy groups that are in your community. You have it with the Democratic Party, you have it with the Republican Party. You go and you make an effort to start talking to them and telling them, look, we have a real problem here that we need to solve as a community. How do we get together and do this?
Do you have a budget for PR or anything? It sounds like we're gonna have to do a lot at PR, especially, trying to get, if we could get to the tax part, right?
Yes. So yes, you do have to have a budget for PR, and a lot of people sometimes don't like to hear that. A lot of boards don't like to hear that. I know my board didn't. We recently had to cut ours. I mean, we've cut our budget down to the bare bones, to where we even let all our security, we've let everything go, our janitorial, all of it, so that we can put everything towards service. But what you do need to start thinking about is doing a quarterly newsletter, or even once a year newsletter or twice a year. And I can give you great examples. I can send them to Melissa so that she can share them with you. But we hired a firm to do that. It's paid off totally by getting the community to really see the value of RVTD. We became a household name. We ran ads on TV. We had commercials. Once in a while, you don't have to go overboard, but if you do enough to make people aware of, oh, I didn't realize that. And even some of the people that criticize us the most, I was on a talk show and the host was really angry at RBTD, and he still is, but he doesn't like the transit buses. But as we started talking, he all of a sudden realized in the middle of the conversation that I was serving his mom and dad through our ADA service. And he said, oh, I didn't realize that was part of RBTD. Yes, it is. And so they need to see that whole value. And so the more you can tell your story, the better you will do in getting the community to rally around. It's not an easy task. It took us years to get a levy passed, which is on top of our 17 cents. We have a 5-year, every 5 years we ask for an additional 13. It took us almost 20 years to get that to pass. But once we decided that that's what we were going to do, our attempts only took us about 4 years. And then we got the buy-in. But it took a lot of work to bring the district up to where you are. You're a great district. You've come a long way. I've been following CCAT for years and have done a lot of work with Melissa and with others over the years. And, the community needs it. It really does. I noticed that I haven't been over to Coos County for about a year, but when I did come over, I was really surprised at how much building out of the community is happening and new things that were happening in the communities. And that's great. That's when you start making them realize that, yes, our community is growing. This is an economic builder for you, that it can actually bring, provide transit to work. It can actually bring people to your place of business and including the medical field. And, they need to, once again, see that value of we do serve the people that use your services or use your products.
Any other questions? Discussion pieces.
I can tell you, if you do get serious about this and you're really thinking that you want to have these conversations, I'd be willing to come over and sit down with you and kind of work through some things and help you with this. And the other piece of it is we're going to make another run for transit funding. But one of the things and the criticisms that we hear all the time from from our legislators is that if your community at the local level isn't supporting transit, they don't see the value of also throwing in state money. And so one of the hard conversations I'm going to be having with transit agencies across the state, and I haven't really set the table yet how I'm going to do that. I'm not sure how we're going to do it, but is that everybody needs to figure out in their own community how they're going to support that one leg of the stool. And if it's general fund, if it's through the county, if it's through the city, if it's a combination of the city and county giving you general fund, great. If it's some other means, but they're going to want to see buy-in from the local communities too, to match that state dollar that's coming in. So I'm working in all directions. It's really difficult sometimes because I feel like I'm spinning in a circle, but we'll get there if everybody really does put their full effort into this. But we can't just throw up our hands and say, well, we promised we'd never do this. Yes, we did. We promise a lot of things in life, and sometimes we have to have hard conversations of why that promise can't be kept. I'm sure your community is ready to like shut me off the Zoom at this point, but
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 when you say community buy-in and stuff, what kinds of examples would show that, do you think, that we need to get?
one of the things that I think is when you get people that start coming to your board meetings and talking to you, and they start trying to give you solutions, that's buy-in. When the conversations around the coffee shops or different places is, you know, hey, I need to get my mom to this medical appointment. Anybody know anything? And then all of a sudden they go, hey, do you know what COOS does? Do you know what CCAT does? CCAT can get your mom to the doctor appointment. It's where the knowledge, it's giving them information so that they really understand your system. That's what it is. It's understanding what the system is, what it provides, and then the value becomes automatic. Because then they start realizing, oh, this can help my neighbor. This can help my parent. This can help me get to work. This can help my child get to this sporting event. And so they need to see what it is. So you need to be selling what you do. They need to know your route system. They need to know your hours of operation. They need to know what the alternatives are for them. You need to team up with, DHS if you're doing medical rides. They need to see the value that you do there. That's how you get the conversation going. Once you become a household name and they realize, oh, wow, you're doing a lot in this community, then it becomes easy, if that makes any sense.
Yes, thank you.
Huh?
I may have interrupted something you were going to say there with that question, so that you were.
I don't think so.
Okay.
So it's almost equivalent to like on the tourism side when there's those certificates that community members can take so that they can be ambassadors of the community to tourists, right? Oh, if you're looking to go get a hamburger, you want to go to XYZ restaurant. And so it's almost like taking that model and empowering the everyday community member to be that travel trainer.
Yes. I mean, the more people that you can get to talk about it, I mean, if you think about when you share something with somebody and they share it, you can hit 1,000 people in a very short time. With media, Facebook, other things, those things matter. People see it and then they start to realize, oh, I didn't realize that, the bus went down here, or that this person who works for CCAT is an employee. I'm helping them keep their job. It's sharing it and wearing that pride of, we're important in this community. We make a difference. And so you kind of come up with a slogan. And I think at one point, one of our slogans was, we get you there. And we had little short 30-second radio spots. We had 30-second TV spots that talked about And it was people from the community, business people even, saying, they get my employees there. I get there. Hi, this is Julie Brown. I get there using CCAT, and just people started becoming aware of what RVTD was. And so again, I think that if I send you examples to look at, then you'll understand what I'm saying. And I'll make sure we get all of that to Melissa and she can share it with you, including some of our commercial spots and different things that we've done.
This is a little intangible, though. We're doing communication out there and stuff. How do we get the people, the city and the county to recognize that's community buy-in so that they will want to appropriate some of the funds?
Well, I think that having people show up at their commission meetings, at the county commission meeting, at the city council meetings, and speaking, saying, hey, I just want to let you know, get some of your users to show up. I just want you to know how important CCAT is in my community. You need to be supporting them. I get to work, I get to where I need to go. And I'll tell you, when their constituents are in front of them and they're telling their story, it makes a difference because they can't turn away from that. This is a voter. This is somebody they are serving, and they need to realize that it's a real person. And I think when you make it personal, then they start to realize it.
Yeah.
You're going to have to get your bus community involved too. The people that are using your services, get them excited and get them to be part of it. Make them feel like they want to sell to their community how great the service is.
You gave me some great ideas. I think we've got a way to start.
Great.
I feel like we've kind of done a good job with that, with the Florence line. I mean, not everybody knows about it, but there's a lot of people that do, and they share that out on social media and things. But I'm not sure that we've done as good of a job with other aspects of that.
I think that it takes time, it takes champions. If you can get people to be your champion, it's really, really great. If you can get your local legislators, if you can get somebody locally that is an elected official, excited about transit, that helps too. I think that when they become your champion and start talking about it, then everybody kind of starts listening. And I know over the years you've had people that have done that for you. And with changing of the guard all the time, it makes it difficult. I know right now I'm in a situation in my own community where there's been such a changeover of elected officials. They don't know who I am. They don't know what we've done, and I've neglected to keep that relationship going. And so now we're back in the trenches again, building those relationships, which you can't just assume that it's always going to be there. I've been the general manager for 19 years, and I had a really good base of people that were really supportive, and now it's changed, and now I have to work again hard to get them to do it. So it's not a one and done. You're going to have to build this kind of idea that you're going to just keep doing this over and over. That it's not just going to be okay just to do it once. That makes sense.
Any other?
Just really appreciate you sharing all this with us. There's a lot of knowledge. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, I will be able to come back and share again with you as the governor's setting this table of group. There's these subgroups that are going to be working on transit funding and transportation funding in general. So it's not just that, it's going to be maintenance, it's going to be everything for ODOT. But as this starts rolling forward, anytime you'd like for me to come back, I will, and give you an update at where I think we're going. The Oregon Transit Association is working right now to figure out how to do this statewide to start these conversations and get things going. And so they'll be reaching out to Melissa and talking to her about what they're doing. So you're not alone. It's kind of a statewide effort at this point. And so if all of us get on the same page and start working and rowing in the right direction, I think we can get this thing solved.
Thank you, Julie.
Thank you so much for being here, taking the time.
Inspirational. Thank you.
Bet. All right. Well, thank you again for inviting me.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
All right, board, that brings us to item 10, which is old business. We have 2 items on this. Our first one is item A, celebrate the milestone of securing our Latair and Newmark property. Yay.
Just as an update, we have ordered, so right now there's still the for sale sign up there. We have ordered a decal to go, and the realtor has agreed to leave the signing structure there. Yay. So we don't have to do NEPA on doing a sign. Awesome. So we have ordered a sign to go over their signage. We've received it. So it's just a matter of installing then that decal on both of those 4x6s.
Does it say sold to CCAT or something?
It says future home of the
Ooh.
Coos Transit Center.
Wow, all right.
And then I am also I didn't have enough time to pull that off for today, but to do a timeline, start our timeline, right? Because we've been at this for quite some time. So when did we have the brainchild and what are the steps to date? So then we can continue to add to our timeline and use that as part of our public education.
So, some places they have like a little thermometer kind of thing looking like, that says support coming in and things. I mean, is this an opportunity then to build support and just say, to the community, they could just be giving us money, right, for this project, right? And we can show them how they're helping us with this little thermometer, right, going on up, right? I mean, is that something, to me, that's an idea, right?
Like the theater did.
Pardon?
Like the theater did, Egyptian theater.
Is that how they did? Yeah, they did something similar, I mean. Pardon? Buy a brick, yeah, there you go, buy a brick or something, let's get some free money coming in, you too can help support this somehow or another, so maybe that's a way.
Okay, I'll brainstorm on that.
Cool, thank you.
Any other comments? Wonderful. Thank you so much. Our next item is item B or 10B, recap the approved budget and services funded 26-27. Melissa, you want to take that?
Sure. So, first off, I wanted to thank everyone back last month when we all approved the budget. Clearly, my sense was, you correct me if I'm wrong, but my sense was we didn't like it, but we approved it, which of course is normal, right? Because we are faced with difficult decisions. So I did, because as board members, as advisory committee members, right? You may be asked questions about this approved budget, right? So I did provide in your packet the budget facts, right? And I'm hoping that is a helpful tool that you can use as a reference piece. And I'm going to.
Melissa, I think you're muted.
Thank you. Can you hear me now?
Yep, we can hear you now.
All right. Thank you, Michael. I think one thing that we kind of glossed over last time is where we were going to curtail services. And so this particular bullet right here highlights the curtailment. And so I'm just going to read this so that it's in the record, and it will set us up just for additional conversation. So in response to ongoing funding uncertainties at both state and federal levels, the district is proposing to discontinue Cusco South. That is the Bandon Myrtle Point demand response service, reducing intercity connections between Coos Bay and Myrtle Point from 3 times a day to twice a day, discontinuing the Powers Weekly Shopper in hopes a volunteer driver will emerge from the local community who can drive a CCAT van, and also discontinuing Saturday Florence service. And I must have taken it out of this version. I apologize. But I did want to talk about that specifically. So those were the changes of service that then are reflected. So you'll notice here, so revenue hours projected in 25-26 was 17,283, and the approved budget revenue hours is 15,900. You notice the boardings don't change all that much, and the boardings per revenue hour do increase. So what does this all mean in concrete terms? That means we were planning on laying off 2 staff. That means we were going to discontinue those services that that impacted as few people as possible. Okay. And provide the best value with the core services. Okay. That doesn't mean that we don't care about people. We do care about people, and these are hard decisions. And how are we mitigating some of these hard decisions? Well, so right now I'm right in the thick of writing more grants, right? But I can't say that we're going to get them or not. So I can't, from a fiduciary responsibility, I can't say, oh, don't worry about it. We'll just use our contingency fund, because guess what? The feds aren't very quick about reimbursing us. So our cash flow is also an element of these decisions that we are making, because we need to have cash flow. I mean, everything is cost reimbursement with the Fed. And so, you spend the money and 6 months later you'll get reimbursed. Don't worry, but you go ahead and spend, your 30,000 in payroll every 2 weeks. Or 35,000 in payroll. So our system requires quite a bit of managing our own cash flow. And what I'm trying to do is create a system and service that we can fund. All right, and I just unmuted. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to stop sharing because this dropping started as soon as I started sharing. So my apologies. All right, so first one I want to talk about is the Florence route and Saturday service. So why, Melissa, would you recommend discontinuing Saturday service? Well, number one, it's very difficult to be compliant with Saturday service because if it was in an accident, there's no place I could send someone for an instant
Drug analysis.
drug and alcohol.
Mhm.
So every time we have a monitoring visit, we get dinged because we can't get people in for drug and alcohol test if we had to on a Saturday. Number two, we also have to have a manager come in special to double check visual verification that they are fit for duty. So and Saturday service on Florence is the lowest volume day of the 6 days we provide service. So with all of that information, that is why I would recommend curtailing Saturday only, maintaining 5 days a week, twice a day. The highest volume days. And with that, I'm going to take pause because I feel like I'm talking a lot and ask if there's questions about warrants.
No, I can support that. I may not want to support it, but I think that's the right thing to do because we're still providing the service. It's what we have to do. And then when you get to the powers, I'll never support cutting it, but that's me.
All right, so with Florence, what I would like to do, because hiker biker season starts May 15-ish, right? So I don't want to start a hiker biker season. Those are the folks that do the coast, right? Coastline hiker bikers. I don't want to start the hiker biker season with Saturday service and then it just magically go away, right? I want to have, for those seasonal tourists, I want it to look consistent. So my proposal would be that we curtail Saturday right in the middle of May 15th.
I know we had had a conversation, you and I, before about not doing Saturdays because Curry had started doing Saturdays.
They actually don't currently do Saturdays. They are talking about bringing Saturdays back.
So I lost the thread. The May 15th is, how does that fit into the hiker biker thing?
So a hiker biker season, that's when, so it starts getting drier, right? And so the hikers and the bikers come out and do the Oregon coast. And so if they start the season where we do have Saturdays.
Okay.
And then we stop like June 30, which is like 6 weeks into the season. If there's more opportunity for confusion and disappointment.
So just before they start, we curtail it.
Yes,
Okay.
that would be my recommendation, to minimize confusion. Also, go ahead.
I think that makes sense when you also consider the dings. It's like, if we know we're gonna cut it now, save the revenue, use it elsewhere, or have it for the next fiscal year. Like that to me makes a lot more sense than to just wait until June 30th when we know we're gonna cut it anyway.
If we're going to May 15th, why not do May 1st?
I was thinking of notice.
Yeah, I agree. The notice is important. A month's notice is adequate.
It also gives us time to revise the schedule and then make sure all the old schedules are out of circulation and new schedules are in circulation.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate the question.
Good question.
Okay.
Did you want to ask those discussion questions?
Do you want? Okay. I think I just want to touch on a couple things. I'm gonna provide a little more context. And that is, originally we were going to lay off two staff, right? So, interesting fact, on March 13th, I had a driver go out on medical leave. Then on March 26th, I had a driver quit unexpectedly because of health reasons. Then on May 9th, or April 9th, excuse me, I had another driver go out on indefinite family medical leave. And then this week, just this week alone, so these next 4 days, then I have another driver out on medical. It is a challenge right now. We have a critical staffing situation right now. If I have one driver this week call in because of illness, there is a service that will not happen this week. It's very uncomfortable. We are working really hard to identify maybe someone from one of the bus companies, right, who could do on-call in the middle of the day. We have postings out for recruitment. But it's awkward, right? Oh, you're going to lay two people off. These folks are just having personal situations right now. Only one of those individuals is permanently off the schedule. So you're going to give away their labor, right? When they come back, I mean, so it's very difficult right now on staffing and balancing services and stuff. So we did have to expedite. Remember, in the budget, we were going from 3 days to 2 days from Coquille Myrtle Point. Not days, 3 times a day to 2 times a day. I had to implement it. I don't have enough staff to do that, to maintain those. So I went ahead. It was a planned curtailment anyway. I had to implement it. The mix of staff that are currently available, I was short on Fridays, so I had to move powers from Fridays to Thursday for now. And then I had to limit Bandon to just Tuesday. Again, for now. Now Bandon has picked up now that we've we've shortened it 1 day a week. It's picked up. So, you know, I'm gonna watch it between now and June 30. Cause maybe, and we'll consider this a pilot, right? Maybe we maintain that 1 day a week if we can maintain activity like we've seen in the last 2 weeks. What else can I tell you?
Question, is it possible to go through these temp agencies for to fill the gaps?
I didn't understand that.
There's
Temp
temp
agencies.
agencies for employment to fill the gaps, because it gets awkward trying to fill and they know it's gonna be a temporary job, and if they could pass some tests or whatever it all is,
Maybe
At least we could look into it,
we
maybe.
could explore it.
Okay, good.
I'd just like to add, at the housing authority, we've tried to do that because we have the same problem you do. And we really haven't had any more luck with doing it ourselves versus trying with a temp agency. It's just, the labor pool is.
It's hard.
It's
It's hard,
limited.
yeah.
It's very hard.
All we need is one or two though, so maybe, maybe there'll be a something.
We just.
Yeah, all right.
I was gonna say the same
Out of
thing.
school or something. Pardon?
Yeah, Tara, I thought.
Yeah, that's what they like.
The temp agencies are like, I'm not saying that they couldn't offer anything, but just social media is kind of where the drive comes from. And people who are looking for work are looking for work. People who aren't. And it doesn't matter, like, if you pick somebody up on a temp agency or like, I don't think it's gonna, I would discourage Melissa or us from encouraging Melissa to spend a lot of time on that, because I think it's just gonna be a negative suck on her time. That's my own personal opinion from 10 years of experience of hiring people in Coos County.
And I know I'm not a board member, so take this with just where it comes from, but I can back that up. We had zero luck using temp agency at my office.
Mhm.
I've
Thank you.
done it at the housing authority for 16 years now and we just know.
And they're expensive.
And they are
Mhm.
expensive.
I know, yeah. But hate to shut her out down,
Yeah.
You're one whiff away from, not having the skeleton driver crew, Yeah.
We're working it.
Mm.
We're actively working. All right, so you wanna facilitate the,
Sure. Yes, for the advisory committee and the board of directors, Melissa has put out like 2 questions just for some discussion piece on kind of some feelers around the agenda. So first one is, can you live with our budget and support it both inside and outside this meeting? That's one question. And then the second question is, what has to happen in order for you to fully support this direction? I would open the floor to any of the members to speak or start that discussion.
This is Michael.
Right ahead.
So, what has to happen is a strong saying, but I think some ideas for us to consider with budget, because cutting routes specifically from, I guess it would be northern back into Coos Bay on Saturdays, directly impacts a specific community member that I'm aware of from participating in social and volunteer opportunities on Saturdays. And I just wonder if there's places that we could, to both meet the budget and be able to still provide services, explore alternate ways to provide services to our citizens. I'm thinking specifically with contracting with rideshare apps or other tools, which I have seen other districts do. I believe Portland is involved in using rideshare specifically for the dial-a-ride. I don't know if that would help make things cheaper and help keep the budget, but I think us exploring options like that might be able to keep both things satisfactory.
I contacted the City of Powers about the issue we're having. They were gonna have a board meeting. I haven't heard back what they talked about in regards to the board meeting and providing assistance, but I figured it doesn't hurt for us to contact people and ask. And then maybe they can step up and do something.
Or at least now, the situation that we're in. I mean, nothing else happens, services are gonna be cut, no matter.
Because we can't rely on the legislature to do anything. I hate to say that. At the rate they're going, forget it.
They've had 9 sessions to
Yeah.
do anything since that's very absent.
I just think we need to be actively trying to come up with different funding options, you know, and draw from the community. We really don't have any, especially the community financial support that we might be able to draw from. And so just like, let's, you know, have our workshop or whatever and sit down and talk about what we talked about today and how we're going to really implement it, and not just, you know, I get that we have to cut it because we don't have the budget, but I think that we need to be showing that we are really actively supporting, trying to find other funding that will work. So, and I think there's something out there to do, and even asking about taxes, even though we promised and all that. I wonder how many even remember that promise, but it's somewhere probably written down. But I mean that we can say, hey, we need to look at that as well, but more supporting the community supporting us privately would be nice as well, and that would show the you know, that we do have community support. So more media, more whatever we can do, but really be more active at that.
Jane put a comment saying worth setting up a committee for community outreach. I think is what that's out the last part. It's an idea as well.
Yeah.
My thought was, we talk about this a lot, and then a lot of the times we send Melissa back to try to implement it, and as she's observed, she's only one person. What if a few members of the board got on a committee and we appointed a little committee that was about doing PR, and kind of had if I don't know how you guys feel about this, but if there's a few of you who feel like you have some ideas and some extra time and motivation, that might be an angle to work on PR specifically.
I like that suggestion.
Yeah.
So that's a motion at the end of the day, if you want to do that.
I thought I had, sorry, this is kind of a side question. Reading through the bylaws, I think the chair does have like authority to appoint a committee overall. Like, I don't think it, like all the time, I think it's good to have a motion, but this is just like, for me, I think I've read that I can just appoint the committee. I don't know if that would happen in a board meeting or like a really fancy letter, or I'm just saying, I just wanted to say that really.
I'll say, because of the power. I'll say,
You
I
can
will-
do anything in 2026.
right, seriously. I think it's probably always better to do it in a board meeting, because the more that we do where everybody can see what we're doing and why we're doing it, the better we are, better off, everybody is. Especially since if it sounds like you've got consensus anyway, then you're not going to get any pushback if you decide to make an executive decision.
There's a
Anybody have
thumbs
a
up.
motion?
So I make a motion that we put together a committee to, as you say, bring about more funding for our program,
Community outreach.
community outreach. But we may, be exploring too the tax or whatever type of things that we might come up with in order to increase funding.
So we have a motion.
Second.
There we go. Do you have any nominations for members? I'll be on it.
I'll be on it.
A motion and a second to appoint Director Nelson and Director Thompson to a community outreach committee. Is there any further discussion?
Like to have some other members
You
here.
want some advisory committee members?
Sure.
We've got one.
I could really use Mike and it would really help to be on our committee.
All
right, time out.
Hold on.
Jane, isn't it true that if they keep it to 2 people, local elected from the
Yeah.
board of directors, then they don't need to have public notice, but once they add 3, then you have
Correct.
to do
Remember
public
the
notice.
public
It does.
public meeting version of
Yeah,
where
you
2 or
just
more
got
are
me
met
off
in
it.
my name,
Off
right?
it.
Like,
Does that count advisory committee members though? Could we have like 2 members of the board and like 3 advisory committee members or something, and that would still be okay?
Yeah, you can't have 3 of us.
Why would you avoid that? I don't know. We're
Yeah,
pretty
or
desperate
public
straight
meeting laws.
here.
Yeah, it's
you know?
Against the rules.
So we have
The
one,
meeting-
Mr. Babcock, would you be interested in being on our community outreach committee?
Sure.
That's 4. Any other advisory committee members interested in joining our community outreach committee? Or no? Okay. You, Richard? Hey, we've got, what is that, 5? There we go.
You need
That's a great
another member.
committee.
Hey, Brady, you wanna help me out? You get just regular
Okay.
regular community people,
yeah,
right?
you want, somebody's leaning forward. Any
What was
community
that, Jane?
members?
Ray Lee, can you help us out?
Yeah, sure, I can help, as best I can. Yeah,
That's right.
yeah, no, I'll help. Sure, I'll help.
Every little bit helps.
Every little bit helps. And mine will be a little bit, I'm sure. Okay.
To answer the question about why would we not want to have to public notice the meeting, I think it
Yeah.
just allows the committee to have more flexibility in meeting and follow-up meetings instead of having to wait that time lapse for noticing a meeting.
And then as soon as you do that, you add on all the other, like, okay, then there's got to be ADA requirements have to be met, and yeah, it just adds additional steps.
All right, well, we've got, should go right ahead.
In your statement earlier, you was talking about how in dire need we are of employees. If we weather through the sick employees, the people who are out, will we have enough people on board rather than hiring anybody?
Maybe. The challenging function where we don't have redundancy is just,
My concern was we hire someone, then we have to place one.
Yep, I know, that's why it's tenuous. I completely agree. And right now, if we could do someone who just wants to be on the extra board with no guaranteed hours, that would be ideal.
I have a question also. What would you do if we had someone that we've already had working for us available?
That is
We don't have
offline, that's
anybody in
an
mind.
offline conversation.
If we do get up to speed, then we're still talking about possibly laying off 2 people. Is that correct?
I
Well,
think we're in the middle of discussion on the motion to establish a
Right.
community
Thank you.
outreach committee. I think we need to stay within that. We can
thank you.
ask these
Thank
questions in
you.
just a moment while we're still on the recap of the approved budget, but let's get through this motion first. Is there any further discussion on the establishment of a public outreach committee with myself and Director Nelson and I as the 2 board members on the committee? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Abstentions, we have a committee. Thank you. Now, whoever left off on that, go.
Well, yeah, I just, you still have the issue that we can get people back from medical leave and get up to speed and that kind of thing, but we've seen how we could get down to a skeleton crew and that's a great concern. And yet there's still, I believe, this motion here that we need to lay off 2 people and that could make us, if this happens again, medical leave and whatever, that we're really in trouble. So what I'm saying is though, we still, even though we get back up to speed with the amount of people come back from medical leave and family leave and whatever, we're still thinking of laying off. We still have a motion that we need to lay 2 people off to meet the budget needs. Is that correct?
It's awful hard to say we're gonna be laying off 2 people when we don't know that all these people are gonna return.
It could be attrition, yeah. Mhm.
So, but what I can tell you is this moment, we're at critical math right now. I mean, we're at the critical core and hopefully no one will call in sick this week. I'm just saying how it is.
Do we have anybody within the group, like, we got somebody that was a driver, right? That maybe goes back to driving temporarily for that shift or something to that effect?
So that is an HR conversation that we are not gonna have in a public meeting.
Sure, I understand, but
That's supported by Jane.
Correct. Please do
Thank
not
you.
discuss employees in your public meeting.
yeah.
It's also day-to-day operations that is Melissa's responsibility and not the board's responsibility.
Sure. Just bring in suggestions.
As you can imagine, staffing is number 1 priority.
Any other discussion on the 2 questions or overall recap of our adopted or approved our approved budget?
Well, I don't support the cutting the powers line and using volunteers. That to me is ridiculous.
I agree with you, but I wish we could look for just some alternatives. I understand that it's a fiduciary financial, I get it. I've had to make those many times in my job. But I just hate to see it go, and it's really hard to let go of, because I feel like it's really hard to get back. And I do know that your driver did drop off some information about that for my housing service coordinator to hand out to tenants and like, did you hand out any to part of those for out to the city or any places?
I would have to check with my friend.
The library knew about it and was sharing the information because she brought it up to me. And she said how many people were devastated. That's her word by the news, that we would be discontinuing that route. And she asked me to implore the board to find a way to keep it open.
Discontinuing the route in hopes that a volunteer driver.
And I provided the coordinated health and human services transportation plan, because if you look in there, at one point volunteer driving was a strategy that we had as a transit district. And so, in times of difficult budget, sometimes you have to revert back to older strategies. Now, is it the best strategy? Well, no, we want to have all the money in the world so then we can pay drivers, right? I mean, but that's just not our reality right now.
Also, what we just did, putting together a community outreach committee that is specifically going to go out into the world and try to make sure that everybody knows what CCAT is and what we have and what we're trying to do, might actually mitigate this exact problem. But in the meantime, we have to keep running.
And it sounds like we have strong support that we do get some more funding. That could be one of the first things we look at. is restoring that service.
Mhm.
So there's one under this item. I would like the board to entertain a motion with providing the public notice of the curtailment of Florence on Saturday, only effective May 15th.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to publish notice of the curtailment of our Saturday Florence service. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Those opposed, say no.
I'm abstaining.
We have one abstention. The motion passes. Thank you. So, do you want us to, are we done with that, or can we move to that writer survey? Okay, we will move on to item C, which is our writer survey, which is being deferred to summer. Like it's been stated before, Melissa's one person and only has so much bandwidth. So I think in the summer we'll have more time for like people like myself. I'll be able to pitch in more for that specifically. So I don't know if you have anything else, Melissa. But
Nope, not on that.
all right, board, that moves us to item 11, new business. Item A, we have a resolution before us, resolution 2026-3 for a contingency transfer of $100,000 within the general operating fund to materials and services. The background on this, the board of directors may adopt a resolution to transfer appropriated contingency without a hearing and without the involvement of the budget committee. The transit hub planning activities requires additional spending authority between now and the end of the fiscal year. Like I said, we have a resolution 2026-3 before us. I have a motion to implement the resolution.
I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on resolution 2026-3. Melissa, do you have anything else to add? Do we have any board discussion? Hearing none, I will call the question. All in favor of adopting resolution 2026-3, say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Abstentions, the resolution is adopted. Thank you. General manager's report.
Yeah.
Melissa, take it away.
So just a few more updates. I already spoke to you about the unforeseen staffing shortage that we're currently experiencing. And as an update, we did post that strategic business plan RFP, and there has been some activity. We have been getting some questions and answers on that. So fingers crossed that we will have a couple firms to look at in the month of May. I've been busy writing discretionary grants with ODOT. I did submit a 5339 application for 6 vehicles. And then I'm currently writing competitive discretionary that is due on April 20th, so a week from today. As discussed, some of the things that I am writing for is money to support operations in the area of fuel, because fuel prices, right, is fluctuating a lot. And so if we could get some extra money for fuel, that will help stabilize our transit system. I also plan to ask money for preventative maintenance, because quite frankly, most of our fleet are 2023 COVID vehicles. What does that mean? That means we've had to already replace 2 whole engines. And if we stay on this trajectory, that means we'll be replacing 4 more engines. Not because we aren't maintaining them. We are. They were just poorly made during COVID. So preventative maintenance is another priority that I am asking for in this competitive discretionary grant. I'm also asking for electric charging units because those buses that I requested, they are electric. They're generation 2, which means that they can go 200 miles on a charge. Our rigs generally go 100 miles a day. Plus or minus, depending on the route. And so 200 miles on a charge feels comfortable. in this second gen of cutaway bus. And so we need some chargers, right? Because we need a charger. So I was going to ask for that. I'm also going to ask for a fire suppressant blanket. So if your electric bus catches on fire, they just let it burn. Let it burn. So they put a blanket on it to contain it, and then it all just takes care of itself. But it would be good if we added that piece of, because it's like, I want to say it was 8,500, something like that, for this blanket. So making sure that we have one, and it's stored at the firehouse for us, potentially, would be a good thing. Then we were also May 14th. Then we go into our application for 5310, 5311. This is our bread and butter federal money. And one of the requirements for 5310 is that we post a solicitation. I know it's kind of nonsensical, because what happens is the feds say, hey, you're going to get this 5310 money to serve seniors and individuals with disabilities. And that goes to the state in formula. Then the state then gives it to ODOT, and it said, ODOT, you need to do a solicitation. And ODOT says, hey, transit districts, you need to do a solicitation. So I have to do a solicitation. Although it is money that funds our own service, I'm still required to post it. I did post it. We historically never have someone compete against us, because you have to be a government agency, and you have to have all this match. No one in Coos County is set up to compete against us. You can't be a for-profit company for these funds. So I have checked the box on posting the solicitation, so then we can get our initial application in by May 14th. And then our STIF 2729, that's not due until January. So we have a little reprieve. But it's a lot of grant writing in a short amount of time. Questions?
Writing.
Yeah.
No. Thank you for all that work. I know there's.
ODOT is providing us a great service and helping us finish up our NEPA. Thank you, Jennifer Boardman, for being such a fabulous advocate for us. They did request another site visit, which did happen over the weekend, to look at whether or not our property is wetland.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Coos County is all wet. That is a lot. Question.
Where do we fill up the buses at? Where do we get gas?
Where do we get gas from? At the
Isn't it 3 places?
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Richard.
when we had to get gas over on those 4 minutes. That's pretty much everybody goes there and gets the gas. And it's been really, really working well for us. In the past, it's on and on. We have who else we're getting right now. That's right now.
And it is state contract. We get a state contract rate. So
That's
But what does it mean if we're wetlands on that property, or what are the
it means
implications?
we have additional permitting we get to do.
More years.
Mhm.
I'll be 90 when it's.
More permitting.
anything else? Wonderful. Okay, I'll move us right along. Our last item, citizen comments on non-agenda items, again limited to 3 minutes. we have anybody here for a non-agenda public comment?
This is Michael.
Go right ahead, Michael.
So I just wanted to bring it up, and I don't expect anything can happen now, but I want the board and Melissa to be aware, and this may not be an issue moving forward as well. I was brought to my attention on Saturday that we had a citizen that was in Reedsport at the McKay's there waiting for the bus, and he was waiting at the bench that's there available for people to wait. It is my understanding that the bus had stopped in the middle of the parking lot, which is not a feasible place for someone to stand to wait for the bus, and there was no notification to him. A passing by citizen had let him know that the bus had just pulled out, and that it had stopped in the middle of the parking lot. He's completely blind and wanted me to bring this concern up because I think there's some possibly training opportunities or communication opportunities there so that we're not leaving people when they're waiting for the bus. So that's the only comment I had, and I appreciate you guys listening.
Appreciate you listening to him.
Anybody else for a public comment? Once, twice, 3 times. I'll close the public comment period. Board, our next meeting, we have a budget hearing May 12th, 2026 at 9 a.m. followed by the CCAT Joint Board of Directors
It
Advisory.
should be the 11th.
Yeah,
Okay, the 11th,
the 11th. You'll see it in the post.
it'll be the 11th.
Okay, May 11th, 2025, 9 a.m. Anything else? Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody.